Welcome to the Dressing Room podcast with Arabiya News. This is a bit of a special.
Why did you do it so slow?
I was going to say, must
Nice and clear,
look at
innit?
my t-shirt.
That's a great t-shirt, Carly. Look at that.
That's a great t-shirt.
Look at Bob.
You on, Bob?
Do you know what? I think he's one of my most favourite people of all time.
Yeah, mine too, I reckon.
I like his vibe.
Bob Marley, yeah?
Yeah.
I was having a debate the other day
Go on.
with a Jamaican guy. yeah?
Right.
And this Jamaican guy was saying, well, I wasn't saying anything.
Right.
But he was basically saying that who's a bigger artist,
Yeah.
Bob Marley
Yeah.
or Michael Jackson?
Ooh. I think.
Yeah. See, it's debate. There's a debate there, isn't there?
No,
Yeah.
I think
I'd pick Bob.
I'd pick Bob. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy around Michael Jackson, isn't there?
But not just that. No. Let's talk about its music.
All right, music.
I think
take-
Bob had more of a positive impact on the world.
I think Bob's.
Do you
Bob's
reckon,
my.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Out of all my.
He's-
Bob's the main man for me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
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 that a clean sweep?
Were you saying
I
Michael
love Michael
Jackson?
Jackson. I love. Come on, man. Like I grew up with Michael Jackson. Bad.
Yeah. I know.
Dun, dun. The moonwalk.
Yeah.
But I didn't say Michael Jackson. I was just listening, and I was thinking, do you know what? It has to be Bob because when you're thinking,
I think Bob happened more organically.
King Charles plays Bob regularly.
Does he really?
Do you know that?
No.
Oh yeah, One Love and that. Yeah.
Go on.
So I'm saying, man. So
Go
Bob's
on,
got
Your Royal Highness.
Go on, Your Royal Highness. Do you know what I mean? Go on, Your Royal Highness.
Really?
But yeah.
Imagine
Cool.
him just bouncing around the palace, listening to a bit.
Why
of
wouldn't you?
Three
I reckon
Little Birds.
Bob gets played more than Michael, surely.
Do you reckon?
No, here's my thing. Right, I think Bob Marley it's happened organically. It come from another realm. That music. I think Michael Jackson's music was like you hear about the stories about his dad.
Yeah.
And how they drove them into
Yeah.
like him in the Jackson 5 drove,
Yeah.
There's something a little bit sinister about that. Do you know what I mean? I think Bob was just a man on a beach, just getting the tunes coming from
On a
wherever
mission
they're coming
to spread
from.
the love
It's just on a
and
mission to spread
positivity.
love, yeah.
Okay.
So that's my, I would stick,
So Bob's bigger.
Bob's bigger.
All right then. Who's
Yeah.
bigger? Here's my one to you: Elvis Presley or Bob Marley? Whoa.
No. Have you seen the Elvis Presley film, by the way? Have you seen the film? You have to
Yeah,
watch
I've
it.
seen the film.
Oh,
Good film.
mate,
Yeah.
he's a G. Like I'll put Bob above Elvis but the story of Elvis, right? So there's a documentary. Please watch it. It's on one of the streaming sites. It talks about So he was just corporatized within an inch of his life. He got so many people just making money from him, right? But when he was young, he was all about the music, right? And he just lost his way, right? And then he made his comeback thing, and it's a famous concert in '68. He made his comeback. They made a documentary about his comeback, right? And it showed the backstage things where he was like nervous, right? And it was all going wrong. And they were like cut, and he was the backing dancers and all that. And he was trying to do what everyone else was trying to do. And then he had a moment. He went, right, now I'm just going to sing and let it come through me, right? And he's just done this concert, mate. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
He just you see like.
And you started growing in confidence. During the show, you saw it.
Mate, you see him just So yeah, I still put Bob above Elvis, but
That's crazy. You know?
Everyone has different opinions, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Someone
but Elvis there's nothing in it. Imagine them two together. Did they ever meet? I wonder if they ever met.
Probably. You never
If there's a
know.
picture of them out there,
Probably
I just
not.
if I ever saw them both
And
of them,
I love Bob Marley anyway because
Yeah.
he used to play football over at
Yeah,
Battersea
that's
Park.
mate,
Like that's crazy,
Yeah,
isn't
mate,
it?
there's
All him and all his mates.
exactly right. I know. I walk past the house. I live in Chelsea now, and I walk past the house. They got the blue plaque.
Yeah.
And I just said to Carly, I want to buy that house. I would love. Imagine living in that. If it ever comes, I've got a guy who buys
available.
houses. If it ever becomes available,
Buy that house.
I want to buy that house.
Oh, that would be wicked.
Just strolling it. Oh,
Yeah.
imagine that.
Oh,
Mate,
nice,
the
isn't it?
vibes in that house must be crazy. Just love in there, isn't it?
Oh, just love. Yeah. Well, that was a strange start to a show.
This is a football podcast.
Yeah. But listen, it all ties in.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
all ties
in. Listen, Joe, we've got to talk about some transfers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, transfer experiences. Yeah,
But okay. This is nice. What?
like
Our
personal experiences.
Yeah.
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 Where do you want to go with this? Where should we start?
Where should we
Because
start?
you started at West Ham.
Yeah. Should we go our first transfers? Let's do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, me and Bridgie's first transfers were at the same time, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, go on. Tell me about yours. Because you're at Southampton.
Yeah.
We've found out you broke the record of 113 games.
Yeah.
Absolute buffalo, unstoppable,
Unstoppable.
unstoppable
Hero.
force that is Wayne Bridge.
Yeah.
And then, how did it come about? Like, what was the? Because people will want to know the whole
Consistency.
process.
Yeah, well, obviously, sometimes depending on your agent, do you really know the true ins and outs? I think every transfer can go quite easy. The club don't want you, so it's easy to let you go. There's another club that wants you. I think for me it was obviously Gordon Strachan was manager. I had an agent who I ended up leaving just because of things which and in the end trust
I think we
ends
both
up
left them.
yeah I think trust ends up getting lost really and realise you can't trust them. But I remember I was supposedly handing that transfer request, which do players actually really need to do that? I'm like, you're an agent, you should just be able to go and deal with that yourself. And where I was still quite young and probably you trust these people to look after you, I don't think that's really needed, is it?
No.
So like, I should have just said no, but just being young, I going to see Gordon Strachan and say Chelsea have come into me.
Hold on.
And,
So sorry. So your agent told you had to put a transfer request in because
Yeah.
he was speaking to Chelsea.
Yeah, and
Which
probably
is-
Southampton.
and
Harry says.
Southampton
You don't
as well.
you don't really know, do we?
So you don't know if Gordon. So you
I
have
don't
to go
even know
into.
what he said to Rupert Lowe. You don't actually really truly know when
Right.
all trust is.
Yeah, players
when
don't
you
know,
look
do
back,
they?
You don't really
You're
know.
advised.
So we're on.
That always happens. as
Yeah,
well,
we're on pre-season. So I go and knock on Gordon Strachan's door, nervous as.
Yeah.
Like, and just telling him about Chelsea apparently
Right.
coming in. And then I can't remember exactly how the conversation went about me leaving. And I said about handing a transfer request, right?
Did you have a piece of paper?
No, but I kind of said it like, what's going to happen? And he just battered me. And then it was just,
This is
he
what I'm
told a
saying.
story about when he did something with Alex Ferguson and that.
Yeah.
And he basically just threw it back in my face.
Wow.
As if to say, you ain't going nowhere, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
And that
But I
peed
got
you
on
off.
really well with Gordon Strachan. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I understand where he was coming from. And to be honest,
Did he? Sorry, Bridgie. Did he expect it? Like, did he? Or did you feel like he was shocked that you'd
Been approached.
I don't think he was shocked, but it was basically like, he doesn't want to let me go.
Right.
You're his
Okay.
best player.
Yeah, of course.
And I had a partnership with Chris Marsden at the time who he just complimented me. It was a left midfielder that
Yeah.
always tucked in, so I was constantly bombing.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We
he
worked
wouldn't
well.
wanna let you go.
Worked well
Of course
together. And he basically just said, "Well, I'll rip it up and throw it in the bin." That's about
What?
it. But when it
How did you
happened,
feel about that at the time, though, when he said
Oh,
that?
do you know what, mate? It's really hard because I was so at home
Yeah.
at Southampton, and I was so happy that the actual thinking about the change, it wasn't something that I was thinking, oh, I want to go. In my head, it wasn't, I want to go.
No.
But I think in terms of football, it's like,
It's
Next step.
inevitable.
it's another step, and if you want to go and play for the best team, you've got to take that.
Yeah.
Go and win
that
things.
step.
Yeah.
And it really, what it come down to is Southampton have always been a selling club, so it didn't matter
Yeah.
what he said or whatever. It
was
was
gonna happen.
Rupert Lowe was like, yeah, we're getting money, you're going type thing. But it was an emotional day. But like I said, I don't really know what went on with my agent and the
Yeah.
club or Chelsea or anything. But that was basically, that's how it just happened. A few days later, I was,
Was it
going home. And
Did you get a phone call saying they've accepted the bid?
from my agent base saying, yeah, you're going.
And then
I
I'll
had
meet
to
you
go
here.
then I had to go and tell Gordon Strachan I'm going. I was like, oh, for Christ's
I
sake.
just
So
had this
then I had to
conversation.
go and like speak to
Yeah.
him, and he just basically said I was basically doing everything I could to keep you.
Really?
Yeah, and he was obviously a bit gutted. And what he did do, we had one more training session. He said, "Well, you're still training."
Really?
And being probably like the little kid I felt like at the time, I went, "Oh, okay."
Okay,
And then
I'll train.
he just run the hell out of me.
No
But
way.
he run the hell out of the team, right? So all the team knew it was because of me, and they were going, "This is your fault. This is your fault." But I could run, couldn't I?
Yeah.
So basically,
It did
I
not
was just
affect
getting abused by all the lads. And we did this thing where you're running in a circle, and then basically, but then you're opposite people. So if you you're not allowed to catch them. And obviously,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what do I do? I can't let him catch me. And so I was catching people, and I was just like,
You're being the best.
I was just
You're being
getting
the best.
absolutely battered. And there was tears when I left, to be fair, because I was so close to everyone there, and I loved it there. But like I said, I think in the transfer, the way transfers are handled, you take advice from your agent.
Because you trust them.
Yeah.
But there are agents out there that I don't think
Are trustworthy.
handle things the right way, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a funny. It's the role of an agent's funny because it's a sort of a necessary evil to a layer of protection around the players, but whether they've actually got the players
Yeah.
in their heart is not. There
But
needs to be something. If it's just left to the clubs, then you're down to like the American system where the players are going to be the bottom of the pile.
No, I get what you're
Go on,
saying.
what do you think?
No, because as you're saying, coming up with agents. And listen, agents, there are good agents out there, there are bad agents out there. It just depends what type of morals the agent's got. You know what I mean? And it's not just that. I just think it's... it was a little bit like the Jermaine Defoe scenario when he got told to
Yeah, I know.
put a transfer request in when really and truly shouldn't need to be told to go and do that.
You shouldn't.
You would have been getting sold anyway because you just
Yeah.
got relegated.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just sometimes the wrong advice does shape up how people perceive you and see you in the future.
Yeah.
And then you're walking with that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because if it goes wrong, not even it goes wrong, people are willing for it to fail.
Yeah.
No one, you're not leaving with like anyone's blessing. So that's
Yeah.
one. Sometimes when you're young, you just get kind of misled.
You know, so I have to say it when it's on mine because I forget. That same agent, when I broke my leg,
Yeah.
so I dislocated the ankle, broke it in half, and broke my leg. They were telling me, "Don't worry, you'll still get a new contract."
Really.
That ain't something you can tell to someone if they've done that. And then that's when I ended up changing agents not long afterwards because then Chelsea were chatting with Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
And we had the same agent.
So you had the same agent
They had the
as
same
Ashley.
agent, but
so that's
they-
a conflict of interest.
yeah.
Conflict of interest, but they said it never happened.
Right.
But then 2 weeks later, they come along and go, "Oh, well, the meeting did happen." It's like, well, why did you lie?
Wow.
And then when they were telling me about getting a new contract, obviously I knew Big Stuff, who then become my agent. Why are they telling you that, mate? You're sat in a hospital bed with a broken leg. Like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
The
gonna
last
get
one
a
you
new
want to
contract. You were like, you've got to get back playing and
Yeah. That's the
and
next
see
step
what
for you.
happens. And that's basically how I ended up changing
Yeah.
agents. But then when I did move from Chelsea, the advice I got from Big Stuff about leaving was so different in terms of going to speak to the manager.
Right. What did he say?
Where he was, why don't you just go and have a chat with the manager and see what he thinks?
Yeah.
Rather like
Rather
and
than
then
forcing it.
Good
a
advice.
chat with the club more about what they think. Like,
Yeah.
do they want you? Would they rather sell you? Have a chat with them.
Dialogue.
Yeah, rather than go, I want to go
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Because it's a two-way thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really and truly. Because if you go in there with that attitude, that I want to go, sometimes they'll say, well, you're not going anywhere. We can afford to keep you.
Yeah.
So it's our terms, not your terms.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we got to be the winners here. You know what I mean? And it goes against you, and then you're just ended up there twiddling your thumbs because you ain't going to... They're just doing that out of spite now because you told them, listen, I want to leave. Trying to put player power on them. That's one thing clubs don't like.
Yeah.
When somebody's coming in, you're just a player.
It's a negotiation.
You've got to negotiate. Like if I'm surplus to requirements, then and I feel that way, then it's a conversation.
Yeah, but it's surplus to your requirements. You might be fulfilling a requirement of your role at the club. Like they might go, right, we're happy to have player A there because we only need him for 20, 30 games. You know what I mean? And we only have to pay him that. That's the whole thing. It's a negotiation between you personally as your personal needs as a footballer, the club that wants to sign you and the club that you're at. And then the agent sits in the middle of all of that, and he's got needs. He wants to get. His only needs are, I want to get paid, mainly. you know, if he's a good agent and he does things right, and
He'll have your best interest.
he goes, right, I've got these 10 players. I'm going to look after these 10 players as best as I can. Right, but every player's got... There might be a player who goes, I just want to play my career and I just want to earn as much money as possible and have a cool life. There might be one player who goes, I want to play for my country, or that's
ambitions.
There might be
Different
one,
ambitions.
you know, and there might be one that sits in the middle. So he has to treat every different player differently. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll go and advise and guide
Accordingly.
But unfortunately, the role of an agent attracts quite nefarious characters. Usually, in any case, you know what I mean?
I feel like there's loads have come out since.
Yeah.
Or near the back end of my career. It's like everyone wants to be a football agent.
Yeah, I know.
Like they've become loads.
Yeah, I know.
No, well, that's because they made it easier at a stage to become an agent.
And why do you think they make it easier?
Family members are allowed to, you know what I mean?
Well, why do you think they did that? Think about it. The
So agents
federations.
didn't-
Go on.
Sorry.
I'll tell you why they did it.
You didn't let me
He was
answer.
asking you, but he's going to tell you,
Go on,
mate.
go on, mate.
Listen,
Go on,
I'll
then.
tell you, right? Let me tell you, right?
You just set up your volley. Go on, then. Set up your overhead kick.
This is what it is. Right?
You're wrong.
What do they
He's right.
want?
I didn't even start to answer.
They want, right? The clubs want more control,
Yeah.
right? The agency world was growing.
Yeah.
They become more powerful. They then they get more money.
Yeah.
The best thing to get control, if you let the families become agents, because listen. My dad was part of my agency.
Yeah.
He knew what his role was within that. He set it up, and he was just looking there. If anyone robbed me,
Yeah,
that's when he was coming on.
Yeah.
He knew what he was there for.
Enforcer.
But he just wasn't a football person and he wasn't a financial person, but he did a great job looking after me and putting the right people around me, right? But it's very, very... Family members becoming agents is very popular at the moment, and it's also, you want to keep the money with your family and people, but then the emotions come in, they make bad decisions, and it rips families apart. It really does.
Yeah, money does.
Money rips families apart, right? So, but from the football clubs and the federations, they want families involved because they're easier to control.
Yeah.
They have less knowledge, less experience, and they
can be controlled.
They can be controlled. That's why they
manipulated.
I think they should make it harder to become a football agent. You need to be stringent.
I think they have now.
It should be stringent, really stringent.
The tests apparently are like diabolical.
Really?
Yeah, so hard.
Good.
At the moment.
Good.
And I think it is harder. But there's a loophole. You just get one guy that's passed it.
Yeah.
And you just run everything through him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the way of getting around it.
Yeah.
You just give that guy that's got the certificate.
Yeah.
Some money out of a deal. So you tell him, I've got this player for you.
Yeah.
So, I didn't pass my test, but I've got the player.
Yeah.
But I've told the player that I'm an agent.
Yeah.
But you go through, you know what I mean? So there's loopholes of everything in life. And look, not dissing agents, but it is as you say, it's a grey area job.
Yeah.
Where there's you can change the dynamics of it to suit what you need. But at the same time, there are great, and I know some great agencies out there, and we're not going to just talk about agencies.
Yeah.
But I think I've had a bad experience you've had a bad experience with agents, and sometimes it is our own faults because we might be a bit naive as when we're younger.
No, what you don't know, Coley. It was like
No,
we know a
From the
little bit about
background that
your
we
stuff
come from,
and
yeah,
your
as
stuff.
well.
It's not 100%.
Well, I'm not a
And
business
there was
angel.
always an older player in the team you're at that would want to introduce you to their agent.
It's always that.
Always,
It's
always
that.
back then, back in the day.
And it's still the same now.
Yeah,
Still the
still
same
the same now. And then, but you definitely not your faults because you're young men. What you don't know, you don't know. I was just so lucky to have my old man had enough
top man.
smarts about him
because
to
he knew
put people
he
around
knew.
him.
He knew.
Yeah. He knew.
He's seen when someone's trying to be shafty. He knew when someone's trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
So how did your first one come about?
My first one come about. So we got relegated at West Ham, and like we talked about it a few weeks ago. I said, you don't want to leave, really, do you know what I mean? Like I was sad to leave, but I knew we was about the same period of our. We played for England, we'd gone to the World Cup, but we wasn't playing regularly for England, so we needed to make that next jump. So West Ham come to me. They needed to sell me. So they needed to get money, and so I knew that. So I didn't have any of that awkwardness. Do you know what I mean? It was like West Ham were like, we need to sell you, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm quite happy to go because I want to play for England and win things. So I didn't have that awkwardness with the manager. So, but I got to pre-season. You was at Chelsea before me.
Yeah.
You went before me, And I'm thinking, like, Jono went to Chelsea, Bridgie went to Chelsea, Damien Duff went to Chelsea. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be left on the merry-go-round here. I'm getting ready to play in a championship. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, and it was Manchester United were interested, Arsenal and Chelsea. And Chelsea were new, weren't they, with all the money? And I was like, and it's just weird. Like, I was going to training, and my agent just rung me one day and went, you need to be at Stamford Bridge in an hour for, like, medical. So I just drove down there. And then I sat in the Bluebird Cafe on the King's Road and had some breakfast, and I was just waiting for them to do the deal. It was like, your head's in a spin because you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So 4 hours, I had a couple of breakfasts. and then my dad rang me with my agent, David Geist, and said, like, the deal's been done. And I was like, but then my dad, smarts, he's gone, hold on. He said, he ain't even spoke to the manager. So we agreed the deal. And then I had to go and meet Claudio at a service station because they was playing. I think you lot were playing that night, a friendly somewhere. And I went, and my dad, well, why are you going to sign that? Chelsea want him, but does Claudio want him? So he said to me, go and speak to Claudio. And I was like, right, what am I going to ask him? Like, and then I went and met him at the service station, and he was just, Claudio, just like, what position he's going? Yeah, you'll play here and you'll play here and and he, you know, I think looking back now, I think Claudio didn't really know what was going on because he's bringing in so many players. You know, like, so I think he's gone. Yeah, it's like you or Veron. Yeah. And then, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I've gone. So anyway, it feels like you're in a bit of a film, and then you sort of the next day I sign my contract, the press conference. So Veron signs on the same day. So Veron is the big star,
fish.
Big fish.
Saying, yeah.
He's turned up in a suit. He looked like he had the mafia with him, like all these agents, about 4 agents.
He's a legend,
and I've just turned up in my baggy a baggy tracksuit, right?
You looking?
My old man had like an luminous Ralph with jeans on, and we're walking in like I looked like I was there to do the tiling or something in the press conference. And Veron's turned up, right? And then we done the press conference.
I bet it was an Adidas tracksuit as well.
Mate, it was, yeah.
Another freebie.
Yeah, freebie. Veron's turned up, and I'm sitting at the press conference, right? And I'm just at the end of the press conference, and they're just asking Veron, like, oh, you're Argentina's number 10. No questions, nothing's. I'm just sitting there at the edge of the table. No one's asked me one question.
Spare part.
And then Veron's gone. They asked him about, like, who's he looking forward to. He must have felt bad because they've not asked me. Yeah. And he's gone, who are you looking forward to playing with at Chelsea? Then I'm thinking he's gone, oh, yeah, I'm thinking Desai or, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Good Johnson, Hasselbank, all that. Yeah.
Colton Cole.
He's gone, the most player I'm most looking forward to playing is Joe tomorrow. Like, I know I've played against him last year. Yeah. He's the best young player in England. And then I'm thinking,
like, no, ask me.
Yeah. He's going, this is a top player. I'm thinking, right. So and then I've gone, I'm like, you know, the chest puffing out, and then he just leaned into me. You owe me 50 quid for that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, you owe me 50 quid.
No, he did.
Yeah, I thought it's great banter, right? So I thought that. So he was a great geezer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a great geezer.
And then then I come in, met Bridgie and all the boys, and it was just all went. Do you know what I mean? That was my first experience. Yeah.
I was already at Carlton by then. I was on loan, so I didn't get to see you on your first. I saw Bridgie, but then remember I went off.
Yeah.
Because I had the conversation. Like, I had to go on loan.
I didn't have a loan. Did you have a loan?
I had a loan when I was at City.
But
at Chelsea,
at the start of your career.
No, at the start of my career, I didn't know.
You started your career.
I made my debut just after my 18th birthday. Yeah.
So you had to start your career. You had a loan.
Yeah, at the start. So I was a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Went out on loan.
What do you mean a naughty boy? What
I just kept on coming in late, Coley. And Claudio just had enough of me. First and foremost, I got in trouble because I'd done that Jesper Gronkiar thing.
Yeah, we need to talk about this.
No, we don't.
What Jesper Gronkiar thing? Never heard of it.
Explain it. Yeah.
Explain it. I don't know.
I'm not.
You can't leave me out.
Nah.
This is going to be.
This one documented. Just type in Carlton Jesper Gronkiar and it'll come up. All right, on YouTube or not YouTube. Google.
You made me say the bad.
Yeah, he didn't tell his story last week.
But I was already in trouble. Listen, okay. I punched him. All right.
To be fair, I think
the nicest man in
football. Was you there when I done that?
I remember being at Southampton, and it was one of them things. If someone was naughty, as he says,
I weren't naughty. I was a good kid.
You called yourself naughty a minute ago.
I done a naughty thing.
Naughty thing.
Yes. You're a good person that
I
does
remember
something
being
bad.
at Southampton, there's a few people that had done some naughty things.
Yeah.
And they usually went out on loan.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's what the remit was.
See,
That
that's
happened
it.
a few times.
Nowadays, the loans used to like bolster the talent, the player, build them up. There's layers to it. We'll get into that later. You do that now, but back then you were saying you went out on loan because
punishment.
of punishment.
Not just that, but I kept on coming in late as well, repetitively. And it
might have been used as a thing to kind of like sort your head out, mate.
Go and show us what you can do.
Yeah.
And then you'll be back type thing.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be that. Then I got into... then whilst on loan, I got into more trouble, didn't I? We won't get into that. Definitely not. But yeah, so I went on loan. Had
Alan Kirbishley.
With Alan Kirbishley,
Good guy, Kirbishley.
Yeah. It was, and then this is the same time Scott Parker. So this is a year before you came. Scott Parker.
He would have been still at Charlton, right?
Still there.
He was at Charlton at the time.
Yeah.
But that window,
year he went, January. Yeah.
He went. No, not January. In the summer.
No, he come in January. I'm sure he did.
It might have been. No, it was. Yeah, because I played half a season. Sorry,
Yeah.
I played half a season with him.
Yeah.
And then in January, he was. And then I remember him kicking up a stink. Actually.
Really?
Like he wouldn't want to. Like obviously Chelsea come in for him. And I just remember, I was like, hold on a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't come out to train, and then he reluctantly come out to train that day that he was supposed to sign for Chelsea, but he had to train with us, yeah?
Right, okay.
He was just walking around the pitch.
Really?
Just kicking balls away.
See, that's a
Kicking balls away, on the pitch. I was like, oh, this is very unprofessional.
Do you know what? Scotty would hate that because he's a manager
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah, he's changed that.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I couldn't imagine Scotty doing that either.
No, nor can I.
No, mate, I saw that side of him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't talk to Alan. I think he had a tear up with Alan Kirbishley.
Yeah.
Just before training, he's gone out, he's sulking and then kicking balls away, whatever. And then he just got sent in.
Yeah, it's a mad
and
thing.
then after that, come off the after training, I think he got told he can go.
Right.
So he kind of fashioned that himself, and it was good. So I saw that part, but apparently, when we talk about agents, I was part of the deal.
Really?
Apparently, I was part of the deal for me to stay a second year.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't.
You ain't agreed to it.
I didn't agree to it.
Yeah.
So come to the end of that season, yeah, on loan. So I finished the season. I was quite injured a lot through that season. Wasn't having a good time.
Yeah.
Things going on off the field. Bit turbulent for me. Because I was like 19.
Yeah.
I was just doing too much. Like I wasn't focusing on my football. But it got to the end of the season, and then I was like, I need to get out of London.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go out on loan again. But I did have so I came back to Chelsea. We done the pre-season. I think where did we go? We went to America.
Yeah.
For pre-season, and that's when Shaw Wright Phillips come.
Yeah. No, that was the year after.
Was that the year after?
Yeah.
No, Mourinho. Yeah,
Mourinho come first year.
I can't remember. It's all
it's hard. It's all, but yeah, no.
But it was the year after. Then I think I went to Aston Villa. That was it. I went to Villa on loan because I was told Mourinho told me that I had to go.
Right.
I started the pre-season. And I remember that Mourinho said, "Oh, you need another season, and then we'll bring you back at the end of this one."
Yeah.
So I was disappointed again, innit?
Yeah.
But then I remember being in my garden and I was walking around and then my agent says, listen, Kirbishley's going to call you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he calls me, he goes, Carlton, why aren't you not coming back? You're part of the deal. That we let Scott Parker go, we can have you back for a second season. I didn't know all of this.
Yeah.
So I was, you know what I dig my heels in and says, well, I'm definitely not coming now.
I've
got to be privy to the conversation. Were you just doing a deal behind my back?
Yeah.
And then saying that that Curbs was expecting me to come back.
Yeah.
I didn't agree to it.
That's why it needs to be signed. Like, all right, okay, we want that as part of the deal.
Yeah.
Carlton, we're going to extend your loan for next season. Do you want to do it? Sign there. Like,
Exactly.
You can't just be selling people when they don't know.
And this is a kid that
that's a
don't want to
weird
actually
thing
go
to
on
do,
loan.
that.
I didn't want to go on loan.
Yeah.
I want to just chill and then flip and try
and
learn from the best.
Yeah.
Why am I going out on loan at that time? And I was like, nah, but they just wanted me away.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't feel wanted at that time. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I go to Aston Villa. I said, no, do you know what? I'm going to Aston Villa. Just reluctantly, and I was like, I'm even going to prove that I'm going to go up the motorway and go to Villa because I wanted to get away from London at the time.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out for me because my head went in the game.
Yeah,
I
really?
just wanted to come home, man. So I was so headstrong and stubborn.
Really?
That I just didn't even use the loan as I should have at that time as an experience to be playing Premier League week in, week out, but I wasn't there mentally. And that's why I always look at how these loans actually work and what you're supposed to do on a loan and what type of support you got on the loan as well.
Everyone goes for different reasons, don't they?
Yeah. So, but I went to Villa because I was being stubborn. I didn't want to go back to Charlton. When really I should have gone back to Charlton, but I wasn't getting advised the right way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No, listen, Coley, and no one at Chelsea, because there's so much going on at Chelsea at the time, no one really cared for the youth coming through at that time because everyone wanted instant success.
Yeah.
So you guys were coming in the door and then I was like on my way out. I just thought, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I've got ambitions too.
Yeah.
I want to get certain places as well. But what? Because I'm homegrown, I'm out the door. Which was a bit upsetting for me at that time.
What's happened there is, I think, you've come through. You're the obviously the star player in the youth team.
Yeah.
Got into the first team. You know, you
and
should have been.
Right as well.
Yeah, you've done well in the first team.
And the thing about if we didn't have the money, if we didn't get to Champions League that year, if we didn't get to the Champions League that year, I would have been. Abramovich would have bought us, and because we was struggling for money as well with Ken Bates and everything. I was going to be put in to be one of the main guys, one of the front three.
I had a rumour, and I don't even know how true it is now, but during that time, if Chelsea didn't get to if Roman didn't come into Chelsea, there was two signings that were muted, was me and Scott Parker, who eventually came later down the line. And you're right, it was like, because the money would have come in from the Champions League, but not the Roman money. No. So they didn't have a load of money, so they wanted to buy two young, good English players and work with the young players. But I think what's happened with you there is the club was just going through such a transition, and you were just probably...
Oh, yeah, we was focusing on him for a bit, but now we've got all of this.
Yeah.
So the world opened up.
The world opened up. And again, it shows you football clubs how players are just disposable. Yeah. You know, and then... So it really annoys me when they talk about loyalties and things like that because it can be done.
My role at West Ham.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's quite changed actually now because we just had a meeting, staff meeting the other day it was quite successful.
Yeah.
My loans role. We did get a few players that had player of the seasons.
Yeah.
At their respective clubs, and. All in all, obviously, there's always room for improvement and getting better, more organised.
Yeah.
But because we've never really had a proper loan system, and it's getting more and more harder for under 21 players playing in the PL2 to break into the first team. Now we had Ollie Scholes that broke in the first team straight from the youth team all the way up to the first team without a loan.
Yeah.
But most clubs nowadays, even if you do get into the first team, you'll kind of regress, and then the club will probably make a decision on whether he's going to be for next season what we need, or does he need to go out for experience?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's changed as well from our days. Sometimes you'd go out on loan, as you were saying, Bridgie, because you've been naughty.
You're naughty boy.
So you're going out on a punishment. And or just to come away from the group because you need it. And look at certain a certain way at football and aspects of football that you might need to get and then see how much it means to other people and get that experience, gain that experience, and then come back a better person. But we've used it now to try and gain experience so they can close the gap. And play first team football with players that actually it means something to them to be playing week in, week out. Otherwise, they're not getting paid, or their life depends on it, or they need to be to get results because you have to. It's a results winning, a results business we're in. So I look at it from that perspective and think yeah, it's very vital that you get your loans right, because you can go out and when I look at all of this, and I'm going to ask you guys, is there such thing as a bad loan? Because I think it's all experience.
Yeah.
You know, like you can send a player out on loan, or you are out on loan, and you could be going through a bad time out on loan, which I did when I went to Villa. I had a bad time, even a bit.
Yeah.
I could talk about Chelsea when I went to Charlton.
Yeah.
Off the field, and but you need to. I look at it as if you're going through something bad, are you going to get that at your parent club, like? Because you're quite comfortable there, aren't you? That's all you know, and you know the ropes and everything. But I think it gives you experience to know what it is like elsewhere. So if you did move and go to another club, you're ready for it, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah,
you know, and you know, like I played in Championship for Wolves. That was my first ever loan, and that was on a punishment as well. I got sent out, sent out again. This guy, man, I don't even know that guy anymore. But that was like a punishment loan. But Dave Jones was unbelievable for me. I loved him to bits, and he helped me play, and saw a different side to football. You know, and it did help me. And when I came back to Chelsea, I think I scored on my first game. I was just buzzing to be back. Like I was like, I've got it good here. I'm gonna have a right go at this. So it does help with that. Depends on how you attack it. But when I went to Villa, I did have a bad experience, and I wasn't happy. And I just couldn't wait. I was just homesick as well. I'd still want to be up there in Birmingham. Nothing against Birmingham, but it was just weren't for me. And I just felt like I wanted to get home. I had 2 years away as well. And I just didn't feel. I just wanted to get back. I wanted it to be like it was again.
Was it?
And I didn't have the greatest of experience because I wasn't fully committed. But now, that's what I'm saying. If there's a bad loan, now I felt that. I felt that feeling where it wasn't great for me, and I was always just trying to be comfortable, and I couldn't get comfortable. So when I come back, I appreciated what I had around me.
Yeah, like, but there's a saying, isn't there? You win or you learn in football and in life, you know. And if you're going through a bad experience, there's knowledge in that for you to learn. Like, how much of your experiences on loan help you when you're helping these young lads out of West Ham? And how much would you have loved to have Carlton Cole now looking after the young player?
Oh, definitely. I'd have loved that. But back then, loans wasn't looked at in that way, so there wasn't a team of loan experts.
Yeah.
Like, the data weren't there either. You know what I mean? It wasn't data driven like how it is now. So we can now look at, okay, what would be the best loan for a player? Not just because, that's my mate, I'm going to send the player there because I know he'll be looked after. No, that's old school. Now, you've got to now look at the manager. What's he like? What's he actually? What's he his stats on playing younger players, trusting younger players to play games week in, week out? You got to look at the type of football that they're going to go into. What type of what do you want out of this player, and what do you want him to learn so he comes back a better player? Because basically you're building the player up to have more value to the club. For if you do have to sell him. And I think owners and have cottoned on to that. Owners and people that sporting directors of football have cottoned on to the loans package now to say it's not just a loan to get him away from the club or he surplus the requirements. It has to be for a reason. And that's where I think the football's changed and it's become more business minded for a loan. So a loan is actually putting value on a player, not just getting him out of the building.
True. I mean, you've had loans in your career, Bridgie, not at the start. What were they more? Were they more like...
My one to Fulham was after I broke my leg and ankle, which obviously was a big injury. So I came back pre-season. Took a while to get right. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause you lose a lot of movement in your ankle, and that got to a stage where Mourinho was like, "It's hard to play you. One, because of the quality we've got here, and we just don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? It's playing in a reserve game or playing that. He was just like, I just think you need to go on loan for a few months to get some game time.
How did that make you feel? Did it feel like going back on trial again?
Not really. I think what was good, he had spoke to Fulham, which was only up the road, and he had basically organised that for me, really.
Right, okay.
So it was up the road, wasn't too far, and he's right at the end of the day. My ankle didn't feel right for a while, so I needed to go and get the game time and know that my ankle would hold up really. Yeah. So for me, it was a great loan, I think. I had to start playing football to stay in the England setup, really.
Yeah.
So for me, that was one of the loans which was probably just it was up there with probably a loan that really needed to be done. Oh mate, don't ask me that now. I think I broke my leg in 2004, so I would have gone in January or Christmas time around 2004, 2005 January time. Yeah.
Like my only experience of going to was a foreign loan, going to Lille from Liverpool. It didn't work for me at Liverpool in the first year. They said I come back for pre-season. They said, look, I was on big money because I come on a free, so it was basically like it ain't worked. I'll tell the whole thing. So I've gone to Liverpool. Well, I'll go back to the start of the story. Yeah. I'm leaving Chelsea, right? Chelsea have decided they want to go in a different direction. My contract's up. We just won the double. I'd played 25, 30 games, so I wasn't regular, but I'd made an impact, scored the winning goal at Man United at the back end of the season. Not a winning goal, the goal in the title-winning game.
Yeah.
So I'd played a role,
important,
but I wasn't where I wanted. I wanted to be what I was 2 years ago before I done my knee, like where I was playing regularly, like Champions League final season and da-da-da. And but they just wanted to go in a different direction. Frank Arneson, I think, who come in and brought them young players. Remember Gal Kakuta and people like that. So it's like they wanted to go, right, we're double winners. We want to now bring the youngsters through. Joe's 29, 30, had a bad injury. They wanted me out. So it was sort of like, it was pushed out the door, but it was a bit of both. Liverpool come in, and it wasn't the Liverpool of now. They still had Gerrard, Torres, Carragher, Agger, but it was in the Europa League. So I thought, right, I ended up going. I spoke to Roy Hodgson. Then as soon as I got there, I was like, like the way that Roy wanted to play, I should have really thought it through. Do you know what I mean? That sort of 4-4-2. But I did playing with Stevie Gerrard. I thought I like playing with him. England, Fernando Torres.
That's the pull.
The pull, and it's Liverpool Football Club. And I thought, right, okay. But then about 4 or 5 weeks after I got there, you figure out that they've changed the ownership, and then they want to go down this data role. So you start hearing whispers about them not wanting you. And anyway, I started getting a few injuries. Didn't go well. And it gets to the end of the season. I haven't played a lot, and they turn around and say, "We want to get you rid of you." I'm like, well, no one's going to buy me on this money, so I need to go on loan. And it was like nobody in England was really jumping at to take me on loan, and I was getting anxious. So we expanded it up to Europe, and then the first club that rung, there was 3 clubs in France that were interested: Marseille, Bordeaux, and Lille. And Lille had just got in the Champions League. So I went, let me go and speak to the manager, because I didn't really. When I spoke to Roy, I should have gone with my gut instinct. Do you know what I mean? Like, my gut instinct was, but my head was kettled. I didn't know what I was doing. So I got on the train to Lille, and then when I was on the train, all of these clubs that were turning me down, Villa, they were thinking it might be Newcastle, Fulham, maybe wanted to then take us on loan. But I thought, no, let me go and speak to this guy. But I probably won't go. I thought, because, I'll stay in the Premier League. But when I met him, mate, it blew me away with the presentation. We went into the training ground at about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. He was like, right, this is how we're going to play. And he's just like, boom, boom, boom. We got Eden Hazard, we got Dimitri Payet. We got these players, and we play and we build through. Like he said, I'm going to play you sometimes in the midfield, sometimes I'll play you off the left, but and we're gonna play Champions League, and we're gonna go. And I'm like, mate, just all over it. Like, and I said to Major, I said, don't bother. I said, I'm going to come here for a year. I just went with my instinct. Went back to like my instinct of signing for Chelsea. So I went there, and he was right, mate. He looked after me, and after my knee injury, that season in Lille was the only season where I played more than 40 games, because he let me manage my injuries.
Oh.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, we used to do something called a la carte day. So you can come in, and you didn't have to train, basically. Some lads could do a bit of training, a bit of finishing. You can go in the gym.
That's what you want.
Mate, and that's exactly what I needed at that time in my career. So I was hitting the games on Saturday, and I was feeling fresh, so I
Yeah.
didn't get injured. So I absolutely loved my time there. But I didn't speak to anyone from Liverpool the whole year there.
Gus Poy did a little thing like that during the week. You'd have a thing where you just come in and play little games. It was just little fun games.
Skill
It
games,
wasn't that, and stuff like that. It wasn't really intense.
Coley, but how did you feel that? Because back then, obviously they did have a. It's not a system.
Yeah.
It's just like a loan. So you loan, and when you was on loan, how did you feel about your club not even getting in contact with you?
Mate, like I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not that needy. Like I didn't even think about it. But looking back now, not one person.
Just a bit of support.
Not
Was
one
it more
person.
like they didn't want you anyway? So
They didn't want me,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
what it
did-
was
yeah,
always like
yeah.
for me, I think,
They
apart
did-
from when I
yeah.
went to Fulham, but the other ones I went to.
We had this conversation the other day at West Ham. Even if a first team player, because now we're doing. See, our loan system was so good.
Yeah.
They've got us doing first team now.
Right. Okay.
Like, because we wasn't doing first team as much,
Yeah.
because the way it was set up. But now we get to look after the first team boys if they go out on loan. Now you got to look at it now. First teamers, they're not gonna want much. Naya Forgard, he's over at Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
He's not gonna want me to be calling him every day. You're right. You got everything. Like, you don't need that.
Yeah.
But you just need to know that the club is still your
Touching
club,
base.
touching base, seeing if you're right, still watching games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and just keeping tags on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you
that's
get
all
to
you
stage where
actually.
some
We don't
clubs
need.
aren't bothered in terms of they've washed their hands you a little bit. You're on loan.
Yeah,
Out of
but
the way, you got to that stage with the club where, wow, we don't actually want you. This is the only way of getting you off our hands for a bit is going on loan.
No,
maybe.
but I get that. But I think it's every club have to have due diligence.
Yeah.
There's got to be some player care there, because we're only humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And even though we know that we're not coming back to the club, we're still getting paid by the club. We're still the club's property.
Yeah.
And
then you never
I think
know-
it's up to the club, because that is your asset.
Yeah.
That is your asset, and you don't want to leave a bad taste in anybody's mouth, really. I don't know if
and I guess because
like,
the
as a
manager can change as well, and then maybe the other manager might fancy you.
So, because another manager might come in, and then the manager, but because the club hasn't looked after you, you're thinking, well, that regime I don't want to be a part of, because it's not just the manager, it's the whole thing. And
It's about doing the right thing.
It's about doing the right thing as a football club, and I think that's very, very important for any player that goes out on loan, just to have some base of contact or someone that you can say, pick up the phone to and say, oh, did you come to the game or watch the game or something? Because otherwise you're just like a spare part, and you don't want to feel that way as a football player. And I know everyone's going, oh, they're getting paid so much money, but listen, we're still human, you know, and there's got to be that empathy there.
Yeah, very true, very true. I just want to quickly listen. It's great the role that you're doing, and I think in my.
And I've got to say, like, we've bolstered it up now. So Kev Keane, you know Kev Keane?
Yeah.
Kev Keane's come on board now.
Right, okay.
As a senior loans manager role, and he's come to help, because I think it's going to get bigger this season.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to get bigger this season. As I was saying as well, like, most of these boys need the experience to go out on loan, and they need the support. And not every player that goes out on loan is going to be comfortable with you.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to have Kev Keane alongside me now, that has different relationships with different managers. Remember, you called me up when you say you've got a player, and I go, oh, okay, I don't know that manager, but Kev Keane might know him. So you can have. It's always good to have relationships across the board.
I mean, it's certainly an important role. This is one for you, Bridgie. Have you ever moved that fell through, or something that was a bit out there?
No, I've never had one, mate. Never had one that fell through, to be honest. I think the only... there was... Obviously, I went to Chelsea and then went to City. I wouldn't say there's any that fell through. Obviously, the City, it was
the one that
it
got
was
away.
harder to get out.
Yeah.
Just because of the contract I had signed.
Yeah.
And then it was just like... It was hard work to get out. And I've had 2 loan moves.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there was anything that really fell through. There might have been like whispers of a couple of teams, like Valencia was one, but I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I struggle with the English language there. I'm trying to learn Spanish, mate.
Give me a word in Spanish. What do you know?
Gracias.
You gotta
That's
say
about it, mate.
Gracias.
Andale.
Gracias.
What's that Mexican?
Hombre. Did you say hombre?
My old man.
Mate, I've got no
went there.
Spanish, honestly. Yeah. I'd just say uno biro. Or
Uno
something when you're
biro?
out.
This guy.
What's that? One beer, please.
I mean, mate, I ain't
Uno
good Spanish.
biro,
Just point at it and go, yeah.
I don't know where to go
I'm
with that.
useless, mate.
I don't know where to go with that. Yeah,
But
Valencia.
What about you, mate? Have you had any
Valencia?
that fell through?
You have
Not
Valencia?
Valencia felt like my old man, my agent went out there. They was interested before I went to Chelsea, and you hear rumours in the papers and clubs making a I always fancied Spain or Italy. I did, and
So no, I don't. I get it. I do get it.
why is he laughing?
This is you, man. Which fancy Spain or Italy?
No. Okay, sorry, just like
Why? Why did you fancy it?
I just no, because we grew up watching Italian football, right? And I
Okay.
loved that, right? And
I
loved
wouldn't
the
want to
colour.
play in Italian league.
And the Spanish league was where it was at when we was like 20 in our early 20s. Barcelona, Real
Yeah.
Madrid, Valencia. Anyway, but when I went to France, right, and I'm thinking, right, I'm gonna embrace the culture,
Yeah.
right? So what do? So like, got my croissants and my coffees, right? And do you know the paper L'Equipe?
Yeah, L'Equipe.
That's how I used to learn my French with L'Equipe. I used to sit there. We had a lovely little in the training ground, a lovely little like bit where the players sit. I didn't used to like coffee. Now I love it. I used to have little because the
I
lads
see you today with the espresso.
yeah, espressos, little with a croissant.
That's where you learn it from, yeah?
reading L'Equipe. I tried to learn the language. Yeah,
I'd love to learn a
and
language, but I'd
it was
struggle.
a wicked experience. No, you
Struggle.
like.
Although I guess if
loved it.
if you're there every day
Yeah.
and then you're having to learn it, and I guess within football as well, you learn. There's certain words you have to learn.
I learned
Man
all
on
the bad
time.
words from the other from my
Yeah,
other
that
teammates.
always happens
Yeah.
though, doesn't
And,
it? If anything, when all the foreign players come over and been in your team, you learn all the swear words.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
you?
it. Straight away.
Yeah.
I love learning the language. I love going to new stadiums.
Yeah.
I love the different
Cultures. Yeah.
and I just loved it, mate. And I would have stayed. I think we finished second in the league. We got Champions League football, which was the mandate.
Let's talk about the players you played with as well. Like you just named Eden Hazard
Yeah,
and Demi Payet.
Yeah.
Come on, those two.
mate, brilliant players.
you- so-
Payet was struggling. No, Eden Hazard was as clear as day. As soon as I saw him, I was like, that's a genius of a footballer. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. Like, because when I was going back to my meeting with Rudy Garcia and he was saying where he was going to play, like, he was always had Eden Hazard in the middle of everything and he was like 18, 19. And I'm thinking,
This kid.
How's this kid like? That's me, I should be
That
there.
should be there. Why is he in the
And
way?
then after about the first game, I was like, yeah, mate.
I understand what you're saying.
I was like, and I said to Rudy, like, you was right. What a player. And but Payet was sort of, I think he had a knee injury, so he struggled at the start.
Yeah.
And I wasn't 100% sure. I knew he was a good player, but then by the end of the season, he kicked on, and then he was like, wow. But the sad thing was, I think if we could have won the league. That's a little bit of regret with that one. We were that good, but we sold our striker Musa Sol to Turkey in January. You know, a selling club. It's about a selling club. We had the league in our hands. We'd and if we would have kept the striker, but we didn't. But yeah, great time. I loved it. And another question I'd like to ask you: players. Think of all the clubs you played for. Players that have signed who surprised you, like whether good or bad, or
There's one that stands out for me at Chelsea.
Go on. Lasana?
Yeah,
Mate.
mate.
Wow, where did
what
they
a
find
player.
him? Yeah.
And do you know what? I could understand how frustrated he must have been
Sana Diarra.
because,
Yeah.
mate, he was some player.
He was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? He's a midfielder.
Yeah.
Ended up playing right back.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
played unbelievable at right back. He had this thing as well where he could he'd be in a tight spot and he'd like shuffle.
He puts
and
the
he'd just
brakes
get
on.
out.
He
It's
puts the
weird.
brakes on and he go, and somehow he's
Yeah,
out.
He
yeah.
would go by the ball and he'd just shuffle around and
And
run
he's
off
so
with the
strong.
ball. Like,
Yeah,
he
so
was
strong.
Mate, he was a player, and I don't know if there was a thing between him and Mourinho, but
It was
Yeah.
weird, wasn't it? Why he wasn't
Yeah.
playing more.
I couldn't say that he didn't deal with it right or what it is. 'Cause I don't really know, but you could understand his frustration because he probably That's really hard, isn't it? You got Macca, and we had such a big
Essien.
squad.
Essien is Frank.
Essien, but Diarra for me, I was just thought, mate.
He's a proper player.
He's a player.
Do you know
he's one of my good mates.
Is he?
Yeah. I was his chaperone for when he
Really?
first come over. I don't know if that was a good or bad
That's probably why he wasn't playing.
so I don't know whether that's a good or bad thing. Like, but listen,
For me, he was one of them
he didn't speak a word of English.
Yeah.
So he was told to be around me, and I can't speak English as well. So he was double messed up. But he was such a good guy as well.
Yeah.
Really honest.
You seen the clubs he's played for?
Oh, mate.
Real Madrid, PSG,
Mate.
Arsenal, Chelsea.
He's gone
never
to,
ever settled
He went
anywhere.
levels. He went to levels, man.
Yeah, he's a good
I'm so
player.
proud of him as well because he came in as a young player, and he was so good. Like you thought, this guy's a different level to anything we've got really at this level. And then obviously the first teamers and the first teamers, but he was knocking on the door every week. Like you couldn't not be able to not play him.
Yeah, Gwyn Williams, I think, signed him from big league.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
signing.
like he come from no, similar to N'Golo Kante.
Yeah.
You know, very similar player as well.
Yeah.
So another one
Go on.
was Chelsea, because I didn't really know much about Robin
Oh wow.
Oh, Arjun, yeah.
when he came on, mate. Just used to ghost past people.
Yeah.
What a player.
Just ghost past
He
them.
got a big injury.
Had a few injuries.
Yeah, that's
and
why
a
it
lot of
didn't kick
injuries,
off
to be
properly
fair.
for him.
But when he came,
yeah.
came, I thought, yeah.
We-
There was a goal against Newcastle, he just ran through players and slotted in.
I remember.
Don't you think he wasn't really a Mourinho type of player because he didn't really pass?
He couldn't physically. I don't think he could handle the Premier League.
He was another one a bit like Salah sometimes. If he played out on the right, you knew he was going to cut in.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
he
it
could
was.
keep cutting, and he'd slot it in one of the
He was one of the
corners.
best at it.
Yeah.
He was one of the best at that.
Do you know what he was, Coley, as well? Because we played when it was me, it was Robin Duff, me, and then Shawnee come in,
later, yeah.
right? So, but when it was me and Robin on the pitch, right? He had this habit. Jose used to do the team, and it used to be right. Didier was up top or Ida, and then it will be like he'd put the thing up, and it'll be 10 and 11 or 10 and whatever his number was, 15, and he'd say you could play both flanks, right? I'm thinking, right, well, I can't be playing. What do we decide if I'm on the right or on the left? Like, but he was like, no, I want you to be free, like come inside. But like Robin was smart, right? So if we were playing against Arsenal, for instance, and you had Ashley Cole as left back and then Oleg Luzhny on the right back, right? He'd just go, I'll go against him. And I'd be like, oh, cheers, mate. And I'd be like, and I'll go right, and I'd ghost over there, and I go, yeah, go on, Robin. And he'd go, no. I'll chase Ashley back, all right, you do this.
Selfish.
But like, listen.
Listen, that's what makes him a wonderful player.
Great
You know,
player.
like, you'll always remember him.
But
Arjun was a type of player. I just looked at him and think, well, that's levels.
Yeah.
That's levels there.
Yeah.
And he just didn't care about his appearance, did he, or nothing. He was just like,
Mate.
this is what I do.
Mate,
I'm born to play football, and this is how I play it.
Yeah, he's a great player, mate. He looked about 40 when he was
He
21.
But
God bless you, I love you. I love you.
No, but he's
He's a
such
nice
a
guy.
wonderful
Nice
person.
guy.
His dad was lovely as well.
His family was
his
lovely.
family was lovely.
And he just loved football. And he's like, he was,
And it
Yeah.
surprised you.
surprised me. Oh, what's happened there? Surprised
Back to
me.
your usual height.
Yeah, oh, come on, Lee. You're better than that. Who surprised me? Mate, I was trying to think. At West Ham, I was so excited to sign when Davor Scaron came in because he was like Golden Boot winner. And, mate, his hip was so bad. He kept running towards goal doing a shooting and try and dink the goalie.
Is it?
I'm like, what's this guy not shooting for? It's a Golden Boot in the World Cup. And he was like, coming. Like we signed him when he had a dicky hip. Do you know what I mean?
That
I was
was
like,
West Ham. We used to sign anything that moved.
Mate, and he was mate. So he surprised because the Golden Boot winner, and his hip had just packed up.
Oh wow!
Typical West Ham signing. Who surprised me?
I tell you what else did surprise me at Chelsea.
Go on.
Because I just didn't realise how good he was. I knew he was good, but I didn't realise how good he was. Ida.
Yeah.
Mate, Ida.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Ida. He was rated higher than the Ronaldo when they was at PSV.
Really?
Oh my
I
days!
don't know.
Yeah?
He's a player.
What? So Ida was the young one,
Yeah.
and then Ronaldo just come in from Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Mate, Ida was the Ronaldo before Ronaldo was Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So you got to look at levels. Then he got a bad knee injury. Bad knee injury, and then that kind of set him back. And then he was playing catch up all the time. But then Ronaldo overtaken him and started to get recognition for who he was. But Ida was that good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ida was that good. Like I agree, Ida was a top player.
But he had a massive knee injury.
Yeah.
Massive knee injury, and that's why sometimes I look at Ida, I just feel he could have achieved so much more if he didn't get that injury, because that kind of hampered his career all the way through it. I think.
Good player.
Very, very good player. And you can see some of his touches, man.
Yeah, touches, movement, intelligent player, very intelligent.
He's another one that's been on the night out with us.
Yeah.
He's not been back since. Ida, where are you? And you've been quiet in the group chat.
Yeah, we're getting back over. Next time
we'll get you back out, mate.
What I was going to say, Suarez.
Yeah.
Wow. When I was at Liverpool, when I went back and Suarez was there, right? I've never seen anything like it, Coley, right? He did, I remember doing a 3-against-3 during the winter because the pitches were frozen and some of us weren't training for whatever reason. It was like me, Carragher and another English person against Maxi Rodriguez, Suarez and one of the South Americans in this little like gym. And it was like, it got quite nasty and, mate, Suarez was just like, you know when you look at a street footballer, just he's throwing us. I touched him, I bounced about 3 meters that way, and he was like,
"That's not hard to do."
Yeah, but like, he had like he was throwing Carragher into the thing, and Carragher.
Carragher.
Yeah, he was so strong. I couldn't believe it, and he'd do this thing where he'd front you up, and he'd do these touches, and it looked like he didn't know what he was doing, but he'd always come out with the ball. Yeah. He was so good. He was so good. That's one of my regrets, actually. I wish I could have been a bit more fitter and to have played with him, because I think he was a proper genius.
I've got a good one, actually.
Go on.
And it's one that people wouldn't. But it's a guy called D. Michaelis. Came to West Ham. Italian. He came from Palermo.
Yeah.
What a player he was.
Yeah.
Like his movement. He actually reminds me of Chev. Yeah. Same size. Yeah. But he was just like he was quite small, but he didn't look like a footballer.
Right, okay.
If you looked at him, you just think,
Chev's not happy with that.
If you looked at him, you would think, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like but then he gets onto the pitch and then you just see.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be Zola-esque.
Yeah, really.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like it's just got these little touches, and he's the only player, the number 10, because he was a number 10, the only player that come up to me, and I was the main striker at West Ham at the time, and he says, "Coley, I'm just going to look for you all the time.
Really?
I want you to score." I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Because usually it's a competition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we can get more goals, so we can push on. He was like, no, if you're in a better position, I'm passing to you.
Really?
Yeah? And I want you to score. If you have an opportunity, you shoot, because that's how we'll win the game. I'm like, that's actually what you're supposed to say. But because we're in a competitive environment and everyone wants to get a goal. So if I've got a half chance, but Coley's over there, I ain't passing to Coley. I'm going to have this half chance, so I'm backing myself to score it. And that's where I saw him, and I looked at the game a little bit different. It's a bit weird for me, anyway, because I played with an array of strikers at West Ham. You know, we've had loads of them.
Yeah.
And then obviously through my journey, and then just to have that, I was like, this guy's a little bit different, and he was so good as well. Like, he set up a few of my goals. Another guy that I'd say was similar to that was another Italian, Di Canio.
Yes.
So another Di Michele, Di Canio. Like, but they just read the game different. Did you see what I done there? Yeah?
You're so happy with it.
I'm so buzzing with that. D and D, D linking up with CC, but no, I'm just like on the mic. Anyway, but D. Michaelis is do you know what else was a good surprise for me as well at West Ham, I'd say.
Good.
And he, I've got to say, Valon Barami. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Barami, do you remember?
Swiss midfielder.
Yeah. Played on the right.
Yeah.
I hated playing against him.
Oh, mate.
I was towards the end of. It was when I went to sit or play against him, and I had struggles with injuries since then. But mate, he was tough.
Oh,
he was so quick,
quick.
Deceptively quick as well. You don't realise how quick he was, mate.
Oh, mate, he could go.
Very quick.
He could go,
his
man.
Work rate.
And
his work rate was a joke.
He was unbelievable, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was good.
Wow,
really
I didn't
good.
see that coming.
Yeah,
really good.
Valen Barami, mate.
Okay.
He was a player.
Swiss international, but of Albanian heritage.
No.
He
could run
great
you
guy
into
as
the
well,
ground.
man.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I used to love him, man. Like, it's just a happy guy.
Yeah.
But on that pitch, you turn into a machine,
If
man.
he's saying he can run and that's
you turn into a machine, and he was aggressive. He was aggressive. He was always fiery. He was fiery character.
Yeah.
And he done so well for us.
He's a good player.
I think he was underappreciated with us.
where did he go after?
Oh, mate, he was a player.
I think he went abroad. I think he went Italy after us. So
I hated playing against him.
yeah, he was a top. He was a top player.
Okay, right. Well, we'll finish it off with experiences as one of the most nerve-wracking experiences when you go to a new club. The initiations, like best and worst you've ever seen initiation.
Mine's like one of the worst at Chelsea, I think.
Go on.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I did. Come.
You didn't do the Saturdays.
Girl on your kiss.
You done Saturdays?
No.
Listen, go on.
You're number one girl on my list. So I did that one right.
Sing it again.
No. No.
Sing it again.
After about 30 seconds, the words just went.
Let's do initiation.
No, I'm not doing it.
Let's do initiation. Initiations. Come on.
Shut up.
So how's it go?
I'm not doing it.
What song is it?
Girl on your kiss. You're the number one girl on my list.
What song's that? Who's that from?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I chose
did you
it.
choose
I really don't know, mate.
Who sang that?
I don't know.
Where's that from?
Is it something Dragon? Hold on. You have to see if I can find it.
Oh my gosh, you don't even know what you're singing.
No, I can't remember now. And then the other one I did. Have I done 2 or 3?
Done 2.
No, I done one when I went to Brighton. I did the Saturdays song, to be fair, which I did at karaoke, which I sent you a video of.
You've done the same one. Did you do the moves as well?
Yeah.
Favourite. He loves it. Really.
Do you know what? Because I went there. When I went there, they were just giving me so much stick to Brighton. Like the first my first session was a gym session, and as soon as I walked in the gym, they started blaring the Saturdays.
Did they?
And I was just like, oh, do you know what? I'm just doing a Saturday song from initiation. The lads might like it, but buzz off it a little bit. Those are the ones I've done.
Worst one you've seen?
The worst I've seen. There was one at Chelsea, but I can't remember where it was.
I can't remember.
My brain's one at Chelsea. It was really bad.
My brain's gone blank.
Yeah,
Did you do one, Coley?
Yeah, I sung Maybe It's Because I'm a Londoner.
Which always goes down well at
a London
English
club.
London club,
yeah.
How's that go?
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. And I love London town.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Finish
it.
Hold on, let him do one. Go on, do you believe I could? He won't mind doing it, he loves it. Do you know why? Because he thinks he can sing. Come on. Yeah, you do.
Hold on. I don't think I can sing.
Right. I've got something for you.
Go on.
Tell the people about your MC career.
Well, I've been known for rocking the mic. You know what I mean?
Rock the mic, right.
No, I used to be MC back in the day.
You can sing though,
I used to
can't
do like house and garage stuff.
you? You can sing though.
It was
Like,
big
I
on,
say
it
you
was
think
big on the
you can
underground.
I cannot sing.
It was big on the underground.
I can't sing.
Yeah?
I'm bad. Well, I used to do radio stations, innit? Pirate radio stations back in the
This
day.
guy, there's nothing he cannot do.
Pirate radio, so I was on Bashment FM back in the day. Yeah.
Hold tight, operator.
Yeah. I used to do like
Go
underrated
on, give us a little bit. Give us a little bit. Give us a little bit.
I ain't got no lyrics anymore, but I can't even remember
What do you mean you're coming out? Next time we come out, you're coming out. I'm getting you on the mic.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you for listening to the Dressing Room Podcast with our Arabiya News.